Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm here today with Bobby Singh, CISO of TMX. Bobby, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on today. So listen, Bobby, as you know, I'm always a huge fan of the origin story, and I ask all of our guests to tell us why they've decided to become a superhero. I'm finding more and more that people fall into the role. So talk to me. What is your origin story?
I don't know if I have any exciting origin story. I would say 80% is probably luck, 20% has happened to be competency. So going back to my university days, as a matter of fact, I was actually doing accounting degree as my undergrad, and I was going to become a CPA and make my parents really proud. And along the way, around junior or senior year, I decided to dabble into technology, and I built my own 8086 IBM computer. I don't know if you remember that or not.
8086. So when I did my degree, it was
long time ago.
Oh my
God! It
God.
was literally putting all the chips together, building the motherboard, and setting up all the cards, PCI cards, and then doing a whole 9 yard. It was one of the coolest thing I did, and it just got me interesting. And from that point on, I enrolled into the information systems program at City University of New York because there was no computer science, at least at that point in time, that far back, and that was it. Then I ended up a double major when I graduated with information systems and accounting. So that's pretty much it. And then one thing led to another. When I interviewed for a job in New York, I talked to the recruiters of multiple companies. I said I'm interested in technology versus my business and / accounting background. And just one thing led to another. I got a role in a network security team at an large organization in New York, and that was it. I never looked back with accounting, and just took off from there on. So it was literally I would say just the interest, and then somebody giving me the opportunity to get fulfill my interest. And then cyber was a bit interesting. I think once I got into network architecture, network security, cyber kind of morphed in from that point of view. I don't think it's anything I did that was really particularly went for cyber, but as the events started to unfold in the cyberspace, as the network security became more and more prominent with firewalls, if you go back to a long time ago with Checkpoint and so forth, 20 plus years ago, it just happened. I got into with the Checkpoint. I started doing vulnerability assessments, and then one thing led to another, and here we go. 25 plus years later, I'm here at TMX.
What do you like the most about the field?
I like the rush.
The rush.
I like the fact that it keeps me on my toes. I like the fact that it gives you that that jolt when you need it, and it's not a mundane day in day out same work. Things can go wrong anytime, and in a CISO world, it's a high risk, high reward kind of a role. Something ever happens to any of the organization, for example, where anybody has a CISO, they could be accountable. So from that point of view, knowing how to protect the organization, doing the right things, and just dealing with the breaches and the attacks and reading about them, that just keeps me going. I think it's amazing the fact that every day is a learning opportunity.
What do you dislike the most about the field?
That every day is a learning opportunity to keep up on your toes all the time. I mean, it's interesting. You go back even a couple of years ago or 5 years ago. I mean, the cyber world has changed drastically, and you think about how are we going to keep up over the next couple of years or a few years down the road. It's just reading and researching and just spending time to understand what's coming next is a big undertaking. I think it takes up a lot of time. It's not stable enough yet to say, look, I know what tomorrow is going to look like. Right, so that's what it is. I think it's just knowing. If you don't do the reading, if you don't keep yourself up to date, you'll be out of job in no time. So I think that's the other part of that I don't like. I think it requires a lot of time and commitment.
Yeah, this field definitely takes a lot of humility, right? You have to be ready to fail, willing to fail,
right,
and pick yourself up and keep moving.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about what you like, what you don't like. You're talking about now looking down the field, right? You're looking at things that are coming up. When you look out there a year, 2 years from now, because that's an eternity in cybersecurity.
Right.
What are the things that you've got on your mind and in your horizon?
That's a really good point. I don't know if I can even predict 3 months down the road, but if I were to look out and say, what's the next 12 to 24 months look like? I think it's going to be interesting. I'm very nervous about the AI and ML space, what that's going to do for businesses, but also importantly, what's going to do for the hackers and the bad actors. I do think the cloud platform is going to be one of those things that going to be probably breached more. As more and more organizations are using and putting data out there. I think we've seen a couple of cases of, in the last 2018, I think last year as well, breaches in the cloud, but I think it's going to probably become more prominent. But more importantly, it's going to give the bad actors a platform to launch attacks as well. So I think it goes both ways, and I think cloud to me is probably going to be the big thing that's going to be a good attack surface. But with the AI and ML coming into place, it'd be interesting to see how we as an organization can protect ourselves.
So what's like the best advice you can give to an organization? I know a generic organization in terms of the biggest things they can do for impact to improve their security posture that you're not seeing a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think look, we talk a lot about security and always looking at the big next thing, and I think the space is very sassy. Everybody wants to look at what's the new tools and technologies that are coming out tomorrow and play with the new tools. But if you even go back, and I think every organization is guilty of this, we have not even done proper hygiene yet from a standpoint of stuff that we should have been fixing. If you look at patching, for example, fixing vulnerabilities that are coming out of your red teams and purple teams and so forth. Some of the basic stuff that I truly believe is a foundation to protect us from many types of attacks. We just need to focus on those as well. I think we spend a lot of time thinking about what's coming down the pipe, but we're not focusing on some of the gaps that we should be addressing today that exist. So to me, I think that's another fear as well. I think we need to get our hygiene in order. I think we need to focus on some of the basics as well, and not just look at the new things that are coming down.
So talk about people for a second. A lot of what we do involves people,
right.
Not only professionals and security professionals who are keeping the environment safe, but also executives, also users. Obviously, if you're the CISO of TMX, you're not in the business of IT security. You're in the business of providing a secure
right.
trading platform for your clients. Talk to me about the people, the vulnerability that they present, and what you do special to help your people be better every day.
You know what? That's a really good point. I think when I first started, I think, and I think goes not at TMX, but in a cyberspace many years ago. I always thought, the users and the employees were the weakest link. You think about it from that point of view. A lot of breaches were coming through. That's phishing attacks or spear phishing, and if you look at just people going on the websites and clicking away and so forth, and making the organization an attack surface. But as I grew mature and then trying to look at shifting the paradigm a bit, I got into thinking more about why don't we use employees and users as a first line of defense. So why are our employees are not protecting us rather than bringing in a malware into the organization? So now our focus is very much about educating employees, and I also truly believe that if I make the security education personal, so for example, you go up with a message to employees to say, do you know how you protect your banking information? Do you know how to protect your Facebook or your home Wi-Fi, for example? If I do that and teach them good cyber skills for home purposes, for personal reasons, I'm hoping those traits will then transfer over to the corporate environment, where they also do understand the fact that yes, the corporate data has a financial value, reputation value. We need to protect the corporate data as well, and they have good practices in mind to do that as well. So the whole paradigm shift is happening as we speak, making sure the employees are first line of defense, but also ensuring that they understand how important it is to protect their personal information with some good cyber hygiene, which I'm hoping that will transfer into the corporate environment.
So you talk about people and you talk about making them more accountable in terms of for their own personal cybersecurity,
right.
And then maybe they'll port that
right.
over to the business. Now, in terms of the business's responsibility to the people, how do you feel about providing education,
right.
or providing technology, or providing a platform for them to voice their own cyber concerns? Is that something that you feel the company is responsible for?
I think we're heading in that direction. We're very focused on educating employees. I have a very good support from my executive suite when it comes to educating employees and the amount of investment we're making in our employees and into the infrastructure as well.
Yep.
So I think given over the last couple of years, we have done. I think from my point of view, given a key part of the value chain in the financial sector. I think we've done extremely well on educating employees on providing them with education seminars, giving them face-to-face training if needed. We have a lot of short video clips that we sent out on a periodic basis just to kind of show what can go wrong, either if you use a Wi-Fi in public spaces or if you talk in public spaces and so forth and so on. Something quirky, but it has a really good message behind it. And we do phishing simulations all the time. We're doing a lot of the things that I think is required to keep people on their toes, and it's been making a big difference. We track a very key metric. So we've been tracking over the last couple of years how many calls we get of when we do simulation exercises of people identifying the phishing simulation or not.
I love that.
And it's been going up and up.
Yeah.
I'm here to say some people are even paranoid now. They won't click on anything until they talk to the information security group to say, is this legit or not? So, which is, it's maybe shifting the paradigm too much or pendulum on the other side, but it's in the right direction.
It has to. I think about the times that we used to qualify the success of a spear phishing simulation by how many people click on the link and how many people don't click on the link.
Right.
And I love what you said there, because now you measure it more about how many people not only not click on the link, but report it.
Correct.
Right? And so that is a shifting paradigm in terms of assessing the success.
And that's
right?
a good metric to track, because then it can actually showcase you how effective your education is working or not.
And that's truly the metric that you want.
That's
right?
the metric, exactly.
Yeah, you're reducing your attack surface by making your people less hackable. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's super on point, and I think it's absolutely essential to kind of think differently about a socialized attack vector, and not being able to deliver like a technological countermeasure to a socialized attack vector. I think what you're talking about here is a socialized countermeasure to a socialized attack vector.
Right, exactly.
It's very, very apropos. I think it's super. Shifting gears a little bit to leadership, you're a leader. You've done a lot of public speaking. You've done a lot of advocate work for info security. What is the best advice you could give as a leader to encourage others to become leaders?
Get scars, lots of scars. Cyber is a evolving space. Nothing stays static. I was fortunate enough to work in different industries. I was fortunate to work in different size of organizations, small and large, and I think that gives you a lot of credibility. That gives you a lot of things to ponder upon. Working in different industry, I worked in healthcare, I worked in telco, I worked certainly in the financial sector as well. It just showcase how things are done differently in different organizations, but also more importantly, how do you manage cyber in different environments? And that gives you the good qualities you need at the end of the day to be a good CISO. The other thing I would say is, if I go back to the earlier question on what got me into cyber, I was quite technical at that point in time, and I think doing a lot of network security, network architecture, and so forth. And today, I think I won't be able to do it if my life depended upon it. But it's fine. I think the CISO role, to your point, when you get to the leadership level, people are not looking towards you to design and architect the networks anymore or firewalls. They're looking for a vision. They're looking for a direction. So I would say if people are technical at this point, they should start looking at how to beef up their people skills, how to beef up their communication skills, how to beef up their qualities that make them a leader, for example, not from a technical point of view, because at the end of the day, if you have a good team that you can trust and rely on, and you have the right type of SMEs on the team, that's all you really need to worry about. You need to understand how to hire the right people, what you need, but more importantly, you need to provide the direction as a leader and make sure the group and the organization is heading in the right direction.
What are the qualities that you look for in a team member?
And I look for what I call a fire in the belly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't have a fire in the belly, I don't care if you're a liberal arts major, as you mentioned, or a English major, it just won't work for me. I do think if you come in with the fire in the belly, that you have the desire and passion about security and cyber and technical stuff, and even if you don't know it, I can teach. I have the team that can make it work. But if you don't have the fire in the belly, I don't care how technical you are, I don't care how smart you are, it's just not going to work. And we're not a large organization, we're a small organization, but we're nimble and we're agile, but more importantly, we're very specific on what we need. So for that, having the fire in the belly, showing the passion, and certainly coming up with some level of technical skills with it will definitely be the foot in the door.
I think passion for the material is super important, because especially in an industry like this, if you don't love it, and you're going to do this 10 hours a day, you're going to burn out.
Oh, yeah.
right?
So true.
And you don't want people to burn out. You don't want people to be unhappy in their own lives. You
Right.
don't want them to wash out either.
Right.
And so I think your point about passion is super important. And
Yeah.
I think having people who love what they do is super important. I
Totally.
got one more question for you because hiring is super important to me, and I know it's important to you. We're embarking on a journey now and hiring younger people, you know, like the millennial generation.
Right.
What's the best advice you can give to old people like me to dealing to dealing with the millennials of the world and how to motivate them?
No, that's a really good point. I don't know. My take always been, look, it's funny. A couple of years ago, I read a quote from Richard Branson, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it goes something like this: clients don't always come first. Employees come first. If you take care of employees, they will take care of the clients. And I think, it is absolutely so important. And I follow that mantra I was following it already, but I think I took it to the heart. And I said, look, no matter who I hire, it be young or old for that matter, if I treat them with respect and I educate them, train them for the future, it doesn't have to be at an organization they're working at, but train them for the future. So when we do training, even from a security point of view, we're always talking about the fact that we're not saying that this security is good for TMX. I mean, that's really the ultimate goal. But I always pitch to say, look, this training is good for you to grow your own personal skills. So you're more marketable at the end of the day. Oh, by the way, as long as you're here at TMX, I expect you to return back for the investment that TMX is making in you. And that's exactly the fact that, yes, the younger generation maybe have different requirements, flexible hours they're looking for, all that. I think those are all, to me, are manageable. But more importantly, either way, no matter what type of luxury you want to give them or perks you want to provide them for coming into the organization, either be a ping pong table or whatever else, at the end of the day, it still comes down to respect. At the end of the day, it still comes down to some of the basic stuff regarding making sure that when they are at the organization, they feel valuable, but more importantly, they feel like the fact that they are getting trained for the next step. And
Bobby,
that's the key thing.
Bobby Singh, thank you very much for your insights on
Thank
cyber,
you.
your insights on people and security. At the end of everything that we do as a person, and so I think that's super important and very, very insightful. And for what it's worth, I think even though you got a degree in accounting, your parents are very, very, very proud of you. So thank you for joining us today.
No worries. Thank you.
Take care, bud.